All right, real quick, we're gonna do a seat pan. You can see I've already got the webbing on there and the deck pad. So normally we would glue the seat foam on here, but what we're gonna do is just what we call this toenail it, which is shoot right there at the bottom lip. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cause an indentation. That way, when this front of this seat, or all the way around it actually, when this comes in, this is gonna roll over. And just like that, it's going to roll right over the edge of it and give you a nice crown, rounded look. But you'll see when I come across, you'll spread your staples out. And shoot them 3 or 4 inches apart. Doesn't have to be real close. And just shoot right into that bottom corner there. And now that that's shot, you can see where it just wants to roll right over in there. That's what you're looking for. And we're going to tack these sides down. There we go. Now that's secure. Now we'll take our fiber, center it up, make sure we got enough to go around all the edges. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good, and that looks good. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We'll staple the fiber right to this bottom lip, right to the edge of it. Start in the middle, and then go to the corner, and you're going to push down on that. It's a crown right here where it wants to arc. You want to push down on that and come down to meet your other staples in the center. Same thing. Start on the edge, line it up, and see, straight all the way around. Because if you don't have that straight all the way around, when you go to putting this on here and you have some here, you're going to get this ripply wave effect. You want a dead cutoff for it. So you want to pull this away, because a lot of times the fiber will actually stick to the foam and you end up with a lump. But just pull it away and then pull it up. There you go. Just like that. You want to shoot right at the bottom of that. I'm shooting right along the bottom of that edge. Tap that, push your crown down. Tack your corner, push your crown down. There you go. Add two staples, toenail back out. There we go. Now, what you want to do is come in here, actually cut that off right at the edge of the wood. And that's what you're looking for right there. Now do your sides, same way. Start in the center. And if you'll look how I do this, I always do this with my hand. And that way you're pulling it tight. You want to shoot right in between here. Now you got the center knocked in. We're going to come over here. We're going to pull this out. But first, see that foam? I'm cutting right even with the foam. Just like that. On the front and the back. Now I'm going to come straight over with it. Find the end of your wood right there. Tack it, and then push your crown in. All I'm doing is just pushing this in. I'm not pulling it, and I'm not pushing real hard. I'm just flattening it out. Just like that. Same thing. I'm going to find the front and just push it down. And push your crown down. You see that crown moving? That's all I'm doing, is just getting that little bit of slack out. And then you want to come down here, cut that off. Cut that even with the bottom. Cut that off even with the foam, just like that. Now, same thing. You want to take your hand and come from the bottom up to make sure you got all the slack out. You turn it so you can see it. Same thing. Come from the bottom, shooting right here. Just like that. Make your cut. Just like that. Find your corner, and I'm pushing down. See it walking? Find it. Attack that corner. Now get that crown out of there. Find your corner. Push your crown. Just like that. Now you want to find your foam, cut right at the edge of that foam, going straight up. Same thing, find your foam. And the reason I do that is so I don't have a wad right here, because if you don't cut that out of there, then you end up with this big knuckle right there on the corners. It looks terrible. You want to cut this even with the bottom of the wood, just like that. That's what you're looking for. So your corners have a little bit of feel, but not too much, and nothing's coming over the top. That way when you actually pull your fabric over, everything's going to be even. Just like that. Now, lay your fabric on there. If you'll notice, it has front and seat. That way we know, because there's a directionality to the fabric. And that way you know the nap's flowing the right way. You want your nap flowing to where it's smooth coming over. And that way the back and the seat flow well. Because sometimes there's a really sharp contrast between the directionality of the fabric. And I've had some blues and grays that when you flip it, it's blue one way and gray the other, or just really stark contrast on the coloration of the fabrics. So you want to make sure your nap's going the right way. It'll be smooth one way and then really rough the other way. You want to make sure the smooth goes down this way, and when you pull this way, it should drag. Smooth and drag. Just like it. Anyway, make sure you have enough hanging over the sides and the front and the back. I always start in the front, and I'm going to tack this down just so I've got my center point lined up, because this fabric actually has a darker shade that goes right up the center of it. And I'm not pushing hard, I'm just barely dragging that fabric over. And see that roll? I'm walking that roll over. I'm gonna roll it again. And when, see there, nothing's coming. That way I know I've got all the slack pulled out. Now I've got my center point locked down. And the way this works is, if you want your fold to come over the front, you want to staple your sides first. If for some crazy reason you want it to come over the side, and see, if I'm looking at, this is the front of the chair, if I'm looking straight at this, I can see that channel when I'm looking at the front of the chair. That's what you don't want. You always want to do your sides first, and that way you can roll it like this, and that way when you're looking straight at the chair, it's straight, flat, and smooth. You want to start at the center, tack it down, opposite side, roll it. And see, I'm not pinching and pulling. Make sure you don't pinch and pull. You're just rolling. I'm rubbing my hand and applying a little bit of pressure just to get that slack out. Then you want to shoot it about the middle way. Let me turn it so you can see it. Roll it over and then shoot it about middle ways. Now you want to shoot at the edge of your fabric, just in case you have to pull them out or there's any issues. That way you've got room to move your fabric. You could literally just take a razor blade, cut that off, start over, and you've got enough fabric to redo it again without cutting a new piece of fabric. But I'm gonna pull. You're not pulling down and you're not pulling back. You're pulling at a 45-degree angle. That way you're pulling slack from both directions at the same time. And I'm just rubbing. I'm not pinching and pulling, I'm just rubbing. The only pinching is right here at the far point, and I'm trying to get that slack out. I'm not pulling hard, I'm just pulling enough to where it gets slack out. That looks like that's all I'm gonna get. Tack that corner down, and then push your crown down. You'll see this arc right here come down some, just like that. Lock down. Same thing up here. You want to pull it. And when it stops coming, that's where you want to start shooting your staples at. And right here, same thing. You want to just crush that down. Take the nose of your staple gun and push down. And that right there is the slack that was building up. Now, push it down and just let go. Looks good. Now, you want to watch this. If this had been a stripe, you want to make sure your stripes are still going straight. Now, let's do our other side. Same thing. I'm pinching and I'm pulling at a 45-degree angle while I just wipe the fabric. That's all I'm doing right there. Just wiping the fabric. Use the same amount of tension you did on the other side. That way your corner is going to end up looking the same. If you're wondering if it's close or not, you can put a tape measure on it and measure it right here. See how that's walking down? Boom, done. Same thing here. You want to pull it back at a 45-degree angle and wipe it down. And then push that crown down. See how much excess we've got here? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to push in the middle and I'm going to shoot in between my thumb and my forefinger. Index finger, this finger. And then I'm going to push down and I'm going to push my fabric this way with the nose of my staple gun. And when it gets to the point where it wants to fold over this next staple, tack it. Boom, done. Same thing over here. Got a little bit of a crown. I'm going to push it down. Push it with the nose. Come back. Dead straight. Looks great. Now, across the front. Here's what you want to do. You want to take it and actually fold straight across. You don't want to pull too hard. Let me show you. Because what you can do is pull too hard. Watch that corner. See, if you pull too hard, you get this divot, that little dip. You don't want that. So what you want to do is just pull just hard enough to where it's at the end. And what you're ideally looking for is for this fabric to be able to fold over at a 45-degree angle. So you're going to fold it at the 45 and tack it. And then you want this point and this point to be flat. You don't want it way down here. You don't want it up here. You want to come straight across. What I normally do is come about halfway. And see, I'm holding this fabric flat with this end of my finger. I'm pushing down, shoot it, and you want to leave a little bit left over. That way you can take and smooth this out. And then you can pull a little over just to get it right there to the edge. You want to make sure it's smooth. Right there. And what I did was I pulled it until it got too tight and I seen that foam start to really crush down, and I eased. You can ease back. You can walk this corner up and down with this fabric until you get it to look like you want it to look. Tack that corner down, and then you're going to have this crown right here. I'm going to take it and push it, and once again, this is where it's very important. See that? Let's go ahead and pull that. We're going to tack that down all the way out here to the edge. And then I'm just pushing this down. I'm just rolling that over. I'm not pinching and pulling. Don't pinch and pull it. If you do, you're going to have these little dips all up and down. It looks terrible. Just like that. That's what you're looking for. That right there. Now, let's do it again on this one. Your staples should be stapled all the way. This corner right here should be stapled all the way to the corner. Now, you're going to pull this way. You're going to have that at a 45-degree angle. And now, I'll come and pull this way. And like I said, you want this straight. You don't want it up here. You don't want it way down there. You want it straight across. Go about halfway. Now you got some. What this does, it allows you to walk this corner in and out by leaving just a little bit of excess. Now you want to smooth this out, and then once you smooth that out and you roll that over, so you can roll this in and out and get to that corner and get it down straight. Make sure your corner's good. You don't want to, let me see if I can turn this so you can see it. You don't want to pull this too tight, so you don't want to crush all that. You're just getting the slack out and getting it tight. That's it. Once it gets tight, you stop. You want to get this all the way out to the edge. Looks good. Let's tack it. Now, I've got staples here and staples here. I'm going to take my hand and I'm just walking that excess over. You see that? I'm just rubbing that over, just like that. Same thing, I'm just pushing this down. And that's what the front looks like, just like that. Clean and smooth. Now let's do the back. Same thing. You want this fold to be at a 45-degree angle. See how much slack that is? You want to just pull as much of that out as you can. Got a little bit of a fold there, but that's going to be okay. We're going to tack that. Now my corner's locked down. Let's see how this is kicked up. See, here's one end, here's the other end. I'm pulling this down. I'm pulling this way and down. Just like that. See, I still got room to walk my corner, because you have to have that little bit of excess just in case you need it. You want to push in and fold over. And push any excess you need up in there. Let's get that corner looking good. And I'm rolling that slack over. Now, we got the corner tack down. We got this tack down. We got to get this. Once again, I'm not coming from the other side and I'm not pinching and pulling. I'm just pushing that slack down. Watch that. See that walk? See how it walked over? That's all you want. And then push. Let me show you that again. I'm coming over and push. And that's where you want to shoot your staples. And that, once again, I'm not going hard. I'm just moving the fabric. I'm just coaxing the fabric over. That's all. Just like that. Now, we got it locked down. Right here at the corner. Now you're going to pull this way at a 45-degree angle, which is going to make a fold right there. Phone was acting a little funny. There we go. Now, just like that. Oh, too far. just like that. Got that at an angle. Now, you see how that's slanted up? You want to get this down and pull it this way. You're pulling at an angle. And you're going to go about halfway, just like that. So you got a little room to walk that corner in and out. You want to flatten all that out and then pull this over the top of it. And just walk it. See, I'm twisting this and I'm pulling that out from under here. If this was tacked down all the way, I wouldn't be able to do that. But I'm just walking it to that corner. Push your slack in. Tack it down. Just like that. Now you want to push your crown in. Yep. Make sure everything looks good. Looks good. But, see, there's no puddling. Everything looks good. Corners are the same height on the front and the back. Everything's tight. Looks good. I normally put black bottom on here, but ran out. So we're going to use denim today. I usually put it about a ½ inch from the edge. And walk it out. You want your staples evenly spaced and parallel with the edge. You don't want your staples turned sideways or at an angle. Everything looks so much cleaner. It looks much more professional if the staples come down the edge, just like that. And they're evenly spaced. You don't want them really close butted up on one end and 2 inches apart on the other end. That looks even worse than crooked staples. Cut your excess off. And if you'll notice, just for ergonomics, for the number of years I've been doing this, instead of trying to cut this over here, if you see, in order to cut this, see how my wrist is twisted? You don't want to get in the habit of doing that. It's not ergonomically correct and it'll cause problems later on. If you need to cut something, just turn it, and this is much more easier on your body. You want to fold it about a ½ inch from the edge. You want to make sure there's nothing twisted, because sometimes if you're leaning on it, you'll be leaning on it, and the next thing you know, it looks like this. So how that looks, you want to pull straight across. If you can get it. There we go. About a ½ inch. Once again, keeping your staples straight across. And you want to come over, but you want to leave yourself enough room to fold your edges under. So I usually come about 1.5 inches from the edge. Just like that. Hold it down. About 1.5 inches from the edge. Tack it. Come across. Now, once again, see, we're on the sides. You're just going to go straight across. Cut your excess off. Got this side. Be careful not to hit the fabric. Once you do it enough times, you'll get a feel for how far away you need to cut it. But see, once again, see how my wrist is crooked? You don't really want to staple like this. It's an awkward position for your body. Just turn the seat. Start in the center, just like that. Fold this, and you want to cover up any loose fringe like this. You want to make sure you cover all that up. There we go. One staple at a crooked angle ain't gonna kill you. And then we've got right here, make sure it's all even. Boom, done. Looks good. just like that. If you'll notice, if I'm shooting sideways like this, most of the time I'll pivot my body so my body is shooting even with the table to keep from having to flip-flop the seat around. Anyway, there you go. One seat pan. Looks good.